Good morning and welcome to Outside the Box. And I'm Brooke Benscooter, and today we're talking with another organization that's doing business in Des Moines, Outside the Box, and taking a different approach. And my guest today is Bo Fodor, and I'm excited to have Bo with me today because Bo is awesome. He's contagious. He's also incredibly professional and has really started a journey. Well, he's been on a journey a long time, but he has started a journey towards changing the mindset of people who are doing events and parties and weddings in the Des Moines and Central Iowa area. But he also does business outside Des Moines, which really helps with the Iowa reputation and helping people understand that we in Iowa don't just grow potatoes or whatever. So anyway, Bo, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me, Brooke. This is really exciting.
Yeah, and I'm glad you could come in at this hour of the morning because it's so wonderful to be up. But anyway, I wanted you to be on the show for two reasons. One is you have incredible creativity that you have really lent to the state of Iowa, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and about your passion for being here and staying in Iowa and really have some opportunities to go to lots of other places. And the second is about the fact that you've really reinvented your business, and we're going to talk about Panache, which is your company, and you're doing some extraordinary things. So I guess first I'd like our audience to learn more about you and how you got here.
Okay. First and foremost, I am adopted, and my birth mother and family are from Iowa. I have a wonderful family that I grew up with in the Poconos in Pennsylvania and get to go home frequently and spend time with them. I'm grateful for the relationship. But in 1999, I just had like my little midlife crisis and decided that I needed to find out about my roots. And that brought me here to Iowa. I spent my first couple years up in Webster County, living on a farm, having an awesome experience, learning about organic farming, as well as I took a Master Gardener's course through an extension at the university and just found a passion literally for dirt. I just didn't know that what that offered, being able to grow your own food and do sustainable landscaping and gardening, and was just inspired by that. And as my relationships grew in Fort Dodge and in Webster County, I worked with the United Way. That actually brought me down to Des Moines to do some lobbying at the Capitol at one point. Met Tom Bozen from Bozen the Florist, and yeah, just made a connection, and he told me to come to Des Moines and do some work, that it was a great opportunity, and it truly was. That was 2003, and yeah, I got here, was afforded the luxury of hooking up with Channel 5, doing a morning show with them.
Oh, awesome.
With Tina Pothoff, the anchor,
Yeah.
what's hot, what's not type segment. But yeah, really got to talk about design and sustainability and decorating and refurbishing, using resalvaging decor, stuff like that, as well as my background in landscaping. Got to work outdoors a lot, and yeah, just kind of grew in a direction that I never thought I would. I kind of grew up a product of the 80s and the 90s, and yeah, what Iowa provided for me, literally from the first week I was here, was, as cheesy as this sounds, was a bean field blowing in the wind. And it was one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen. It looked like an ocean, but green. And it was just very empowering for me. And it also made me feel extremely grounded for the first time in my adult life. So then I could ramble on endlessly about cornfield weddings and all kinds of other stuff as well. But long story short, it was really like the land and the people that made me want to stay.
So how did Panache come to be?
Well, when I was in Fort Dodge, I sort of arrived without any homework being done on what was available. And I don't know, I just assumed there would be a Macy's. And there
And
wasn't.
no, we still don't have one. Well, Sioux City has one, I understand.
Yeah.
Darn.
But anyway, long story short, when I got there to that farmhouse and found an extended family and started to settle, my background on the East Coast, as well as my experiences traveling through the 80s when I was a model, I just had an appreciation for some of what some people said were the finer things, but I consider them sort of the basics, and they were unavailable. Long story short, I had an opportunity because of my background in food, Epicurean food styling, professionally, and then more importantly, just my passion for cooking, to put together a catering business because there were no caterers or decorators per se in that area. There was a small country club that was in dire need or in straits called for the Fort Dodge Country Club. No disrespect, love it still to this day. But it gave me an opportunity and a platform, a foundation to build off, build clientele, raise the bar a little. And also myself learned a lot about casseroles and hot dishes and never knew anything about how fabulous they were. So it was a win-win situation. And that's how Panache started.
So when you started approaching events, small town Iowa, you obviously couldn't say there's a better way to do this, or maybe that's how you approach it, is there's a better way to do this, rather than, gee, you don't really want to do it that way.
Well, Brooke, to be honest with you, what I learned a very long time ago was if there's something that you're passionate about or something that you think you're interested in, the best thing to do is to volunteer. Just show up. Ask, can I help out? I'll wash dishes, clean bathrooms, set tables, whatever. Very quickly, the people that you work with find out what your skill set is. And as polished as I have become, I'm a very simple blue-collar type of guy, shoot from the hip, say it as it is. And you can be very matter-of-fact and very direct with a little bit of sweetness and lightness. And especially if you put it out there like you just want to suggest it. You want to raise the bar for that organization. People are very open and willing to want to try to step outside of a box if they feel there's a benefit of that. If what they've been doing this far has only gotten them that far, you got to get out of the box or you just stay mediocre. And that is something I don't think I could ever be. I've tried, believe me, to assimilate and to fit in and whatever, but it's my differences that make me who I am. And I literally have been afforded this luxury here in Iowa by being different. And I also have been afforded a luxury of being Iowan to a certain degree because of my family. And I just am very blessed, and I'm extremely grateful that I get to wake up every day and maybe for at least 1 hour get to go to do something that I'm extremely passionate about. And then, I have to clean toilets and bathrooms sometimes too, which isn't fabulous. But whatever, long story short, I do believe that if you do have something that's either unique or even different, or you just don't want to settle for mediocrity, if you're kind about that kindness is returned, and those people want to learn and grow. And I always learn. Every single event I ever do, I walk away with like a little coursework being completed. I learned something to take to the next event. And even though I'll never have my master's degree in it, it's still a fabulous learning experience.
Actually, I think you have a doctorate in it, but
I don't know about that.
But so really, Fort Dodge benefited from your talent and time, and you ended up down here as well. And you have really created a name in both weddings and events, and have been a part of some really cool things. What's the vision right now for what Panache is?
A very good question. I've spent the past few months in a transitional phase, both mentally and spiritually, and Long story short, I was afforded a wonderful opportunity for the past 5 years to work with gay and lesbian couples wanting to come to Iowa to be married. And my gay weddings with Panache business really made me into a businessman, but more importantly, made me into somewhat of like this gay ambassador. And the opportunity in traveling throughout the state and working with vendors and properties that rival properties on the coast that I've worked in and out of as well, gave me a great sense of pride in what I'm doing. And I don't want to say I'm burnt out on weddings. It's a lot of work. And good, bad, or indifferent. The only difference between a gay wedding and a straight wedding is a little homophobia. And I don't mean to discount that by saying a little, because there's various spectrums of like scale on that. But long story short, I found myself becoming like a wedding therapist or a wedding psychologist, and that's not my forte. I mean, yeah, I look great, but I'm a mess. I don't need to be giving anybody advice as far as interpersonal relationships and weddings. That all of that stuff that comes with that is just not my passion. What I like to do is throw outrageous parties, and also like to do very simple, humbling, organic style events, because those are the ones that are the most heartfelt and the most accessible. Don't get me wrong, I love over the top, high budget, crazy venued events, but yeah, the ones that my family could go and attend are the ones that are my favorite, because I found those inspiring as a child. Huge shout out to my mom for being the original Martha Stewart and making everything from scratch, and and being damn good and proud of that. Built that within me, and now at this point in my life, especially since I'm getting older, a lot older, my family means a lot to me. And what I am, what's expected of me to sort of leave behind, as cheesy as that sounds, I hope I can instill that in my nieces and nephews, and especially my godson.
Oh, that's cool. We're actually going to look at some pictures of events that you've been involved with in our next segment. So I want everybody to know that we're going to see your work and see you at work, I think. But talk a little bit about the gay wedding experience and what you found out about how people viewed Iowa.
Well, my experience is a little surreal. The first year, as soon as the ruling went down, it was all somewhat of a shock and a surprise to me. I wasn't a political person at the time. I'm still not today, but really wasn't paying attention. And apologize for that. But needless to say, the ruling caught me off guard, but very quickly, friends of mine contacted me literally that day and said, "Bo, this is your moment to throw out a shingle and to be the best damn gay wedding planner you can be." And I laughed out loud at that thought, but yeah, it made sense. The reason it made sense was because I got off a plane in Fort Dodge, Iowa in 1999 in an Armani suit with my Louis Vuitton luggage, and thought that I was going to be as well received as I had been on the East Coast. And the homophobia that I very quickly experienced was jaw-dropping. I found some of it comical and funny, but I'm also cynical and jaded and 50 years old, have been around the block, and have dealt with that my entire adult life. I could not fathom what it would be like for a young LGBT couple to come and land and go and try to plan a wedding. I mean, it was just not going to happen. Very quickly, organizations popped up. Organizations that had already been in play, One Iowa, right. Iowa's Gay Wedding Planner, very quickly put together a collective of support for these couples. And then my job literally just became sort of like to be the ambassador, and was very surprised at the amount of support that came from the most unexpected places. also was shocked and still am to some degree, somewhat appalled still at some of the blatant ignorance and intolerance that I experienced when I would go to venues or bakeries or florists and let them know that I needed their help to do these weddings. So yeah, it sort of lit a fire within me that made me more of an activist than a wedding planner. And I don't really know where I'm at with that, except that, yeah, I think that no matter what we do in life, especially as an openly gay 50-year-old man living in the Midwest and building a business, that I will always have to deal with some diversity as far as that's concerned. To live my passion, I'm going to have to fight for that right. I mean, just this morning, the lead story on Channel 5 was the hubbubaloo that's going on again at the Capitol over the gay marriage amendment stuff. And here we are 5 years into this. I've done 77 gay weddings. I'm thrilled and humbled at the title of Iowa's Gay Wedding Planner. But I also, want to start doing farm-to-table dinners and hog roasts.
Well, and really, it should be more, I mean, really, after you doing 77, it's more mainstream. And it should be overall culturally.
Well, and with 9 other states now, with it being legalized and supported by the majority, the fact that that is all taking place not just here in the United States, but worldwide, the time is running out, and they just need to move on now to the bigger important things.
like the budget.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, well, one of the things I wanted to say is that the way I met you was through Festival of Trees and Lights and your donation and of time and talent to
my favorite organization,
Blank Children's Hospital. And really, I've worked with you for at least 5 years, and the one thing that clearly, while we're doing the gay wedding planning part of it, you also were building this reputation and clientele for other events that are not related necessarily to being gay or
have
wedding
anything to do with
planning.
weddings.
So talk a little bit about how you see that as kind of an open opportunity, and the fact that maybe Des Moines is starting to come into its own for having some signature events and your ability to contribute to them.
Well, just in the brief time that I've been in Des Moines, I've really watched it grow socially to compete with other metropolitan cities. Blank Children's Hospital has extremely personal ties because of my family and my godson being in the neonatal unit there when he was born prematurely. You had asked earlier in the conversation about how I get involved and how I somehow can add some panache or sparkle and dazzle or take it to the next level. That was really my entrance into special events. I had literally just moved here. The trauma with the baby and everything came out of nowhere, of course. The experience at Blank with the neonatal unit and the nursing staff for that window of time, which was just life-changing, inspired me to just step into this volunteer position that I had heard about and was passionate about decorating Christmas trees. I want to say it was Marsha Wanamaker from Iowa Realty who literally asked me to come and to see if I could decorate a tree for her. And I didn't have a budget. In fact, I think we got all the ornaments from Salvation Army that first year. And just being let to have free reign. And then it being respected and ladies talking to me and telling me it was rock star and inspiring me to keep going. I listened to them, the women that ran that organization, the festival anyway, were like Martha Stewart type of women, just very, very organized and very diligent and very direct. And I watched them like move mountains because the event logistically is a nightmare, as you well know.
Yes, it is.
And just the moving. I mean, we went from the Capitol, I believe, the first year to then Capitol Square. Then I don't remember. I guess I went to the Polk County Convention Center for the past
for the last
years.
4 years.
Okay.
Yep.
And then this year, with it being at Hy-Vee Hall, spectacular. I mean, just really behooved the ambiance that we needed to create to make it magical and very surreal. So yeah, my experience with Blank and the gala, learning about that process, watching my good friends, Carter Hutchinson, sharing that, putting that together, watching the thought processes that took place and the intermingling of businesses that supported it and donated their time and energy, watching Stuart Alexander create the most incredible interiors with his special event company, inspired me to learn more and to grow. And so, this past decade here in Iowa, everything has changed for me as far as my design concept. I was very kind of glitzed and gaudy and gilded, and now I'm a lot more raw and a lot more organic and much more natural. But most importantly, it's not so much for me and my design anymore to how I do it or what I do it with, but why I am doing what I'm doing.
And I love that. You said that to me in a meeting a few weeks back, and it's so stuck with me, and it's kind of become my mantra, which I hope you don't mind me stealing. No. But that it's not the how, it's the why. Why are we doing it? And having really a purpose-filled, not just event, but life
experience while you're doing that event is really what it boils down to. I mean, I have learned so much from the people I've worked with. And I mean, and that goes down to like even staff at a property, watching and being inspired by their work ethic and by their joy in doing what they're doing. I mean, sometimes it's even as much as like housekeeping staff, just an interaction that I share with them, and them being pride-filled in the presentation of their property inspires me. I mean, I don't know.
And you can keep learning. I mean, I will never forget the day I learned about cleaning glass at a Ritz-Carlton, because they clean glass with Windex and newspaper, or ammonia and newspaper. And I was like, I never knew that. And I learned that while watching somebody clean a glass cabinet in a hallway. Yeah, because if you're open to it, learning those things can come from anywhere.
Well, sure. And that, I hate to say this, it's not as simple as the sparkle and dazzle, but that's the foundation of sparkling and dazzling. And I am inspired when I see, even like I said, a simple housekeeper doing something like that. Yep. Makes me want to go that extra mile to just keep on raising the bar and, giving 100% for the right reason.
Well, we're going to take a break and come back, and we're going to talk more about the how and why, and the fact that Bo has really inspired me with that. And we're also going to take a look at some events that Bo's been involved with recently, and kind of take you on a little tour of his portfolio and talk more about being outside the box.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershad.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
Welcome back to Outside the Box. I'm Brooke Benscooter, and my guest today is Bo Foder with Panache, and we're talking about Bo's journey to Iowa, but also what he's doing right now in the central Iowa and Iowa area with events and weddings, and how he's really retooled his company and becoming more involved in the entertainment community in Des Moines. So, Bo, good to have you here, and thank you for sharing your story with us today. So, one of the things that I believe is that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I stole some pictures from your Facebook page last night. You sent me some, but I also found some that I think kind of tell a story.
Okay.
So what I'm hoping is we can look at these and we can talk a little bit about how what you're doing with your business.
Sure.
And also you've been involved in some very cool venues that have come just into fruition just in the last year.
Correct.
One
yes.
as early as last week.
Correct.
Or was that last week or
Yeah,
early?
last Saturday.
Yeah,
it was
last,
the grand opening Saturday.
yeah,
The Rollins Mansion.
of the Rollins Mansion, and then also the World Food Prize.
Right.
So
I'll be
anyway,
later today.
yeah. So and I know you have a busy day, and so I appreciate your taking time to be with us. But let's take a look at some pictures and let's talk about them, because
Okay.
I think it will give people a real flavor of how you work and the kind of events that are going on in Des Moines that I think a lot of people don't even realize happen.
Sure,
So
sure.
anyway, so we're going to take a look. Okay, this was a Botanical Center
Right.
event recently.
Valentine's Day dinner at the Botanical Center. This is early in the day when we were literally just setting up. But one of my first experiences of the transition from morning to noon to evening at the Botanical Center, I've done several weddings there. Most recently a couple from Australia came to Iowa to be married with a wedding party of 40 from Perth, Australia.
Oh, wow.
And they said that the interior was so Australian-like because of the temperature, the climate, the humidity,
Yep.
all the smells. They said they were instantly at home, and I was just thrilled at my experience. Very professional staff there. The catering was spectacular through Embassy Club. The Valentine's Day dinner was, as the night transitioned, was probably one of the most romantic events I've ever been part of.
Oh, cool. Well, let's take a look at the next photograph, which I think is, oh, no, this one, I put this one in here because I wanted you to talk just a little bit about the fact that Iowa entertains a lot as a state.
Oh, that's true.
And you've been involved with, I mean, this looks pretty, it's not fancy, but I'm sure there are reasons why it's not very ostentatious. This was the
Exactly.
Chinese ambassador, I believe, who came,
was
right?
a Chinese Association dinner. And actually, Ambassador Quinn received recognition and honor that evening for his working with them for the past 25 years, bringing Chinese culture as well as commerce to Iowa, and now vice versa. I know that the Branstad administration has a lot of connections. And
thank you for-
then that's
Yeah,
all good.
see, and did you have something to do with this poster?
Just put it on the wall.
I love it. Okay, what's the next photo?
And that, like I talked about the transition, this is like the after picture at the Botanical Center.
It's beautiful.
And I actually got to wait and serve dinner to the couple that sat there, and they were just in awe. I mean, they spent 3.5 hours really just sitting and drinking champagne. And yeah, just an incredible ambiance created very simply with some LED lights and about 100 votives.
Oh, cool. All right. This was your event last Friday.
At the Rollins Mansion, the
Yes.
grand opening of what I consider to be a crown jewel in Des Moines' tiara, whatever, however you want to call it. Just the history behind the property, phenomenal. The attention to detail with the architecture within the property, just epic architectural integrity on the property. And then the possibilities, the way it's been broken down and marketed as an event property. It's extremely cost effective. The different vignettes that can be created throughout the property make it a one of a kind. The gardens alone, the investment in an English topiary garden that's being installed as we speak. The potential for entertaining, and more importantly, the image that it gives to us as being able to compete with Chicago, with Kansas City, heck, with New York, LA, Miami, whatever. Just, yeah, a 5-star property.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look. Okay, now I put this in because I know you're in the throes of doing a fashion show.
Correct,
And Bo, the one thing that I'm so amazed by is the fact that you're so giving of your talents to people and to help them. But you don't see it as, they often see it as a challenge. You see it as an opportunity.
Right.
And so
this is a perfect example of that. When we walked into the venue,
this is Seven Flags.
Seven Flags Athletic Center. I felt like I was kind of at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
And as raw as the space is, what I also saw was a completely blank palette. And honestly, a 40-foot runway with chandeliers hanging above it, with all the lights turned out except for LED beams coming up on the side, and a huge spotlight on that 40-foot runway, and the models and the hairstylists will be in an epic, very simply, logistically anyway, planned event. And yeah, good, better, and different.
There's one after this. Is there one? Oh,
well,
no.
those are my notes.
Yeah, I loved it. This is like Bo planning in the truck.
In the truck,
and I
it.
loved it because I mean, it's you know, there's no magic button that you can push. It really has to be the talent of the event planner that thinks of everything. I mean, from is there enough electricity load?
Right.
To do all this.
Exactly.
And
it's usually the smallest logistical problems that can make or break your event.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly. I'm also at a point now, too, where when I get involved in a venue such as Seven Flags, their team of event people, as simple and humble as their events may be, can provide the mechanical aspects that make me able to hang chandeliers from a 70-foot ceiling over a 40-foot runway that those men will construct very simply and easily. But again, without them, it's just an idea.
Yep.
And I am also, too, like the notes crack me up when I see that you made comment on that. I have to write everything down. because the way my brain works is a process, like an event from beginning to end. And if I can capture that all at the very beginning, I have my blueprint. But if I don't, then different modalities come into play, and it never comes to the fruition the way I first thought of it.
Okay, let's go back and see what's next. Okay, I put these in because the one thing that I was really impressed with was as I look at your Facebook page and your blog, you're really blessed with a talent for seeing color, seeing the potential, and I know you spend a lot of time picking your own greens, which is impressive. Let's look at the next photo as well. I can't read. Okay, this was the Valentine's Day dinner event.
Yes, phenomenal menu from the
Embassy Club.
The Embassy Club.
Awesome. Okay, and what's after? Okay,
this is where I'll be later today. This is the World Food Prize. It has to be my all-time favorite venue. I mean, not to take away from the Metropolitan Museum of Art or anything in Washington, D.C. or anything in Los Angeles, but the foundation of the World Food Prize, the integrity behind the concept of that we need to feed the world, not just a very small demographic that I would cater a dinner for, but to feed the entire world, is housed and represented in this property. And as you can see, just everinthing about entertaining there.
And this happened to be a wedding luncheon, I think.
Right. Well, this was actually by invitation only to all of the brides that had registered at a bridal forum.
Oh, okay.
The Embassy Club had a table where I schmoozed and talked and chatted up decor.
And then they could come to this event and see
and check it out.
Yep,
right,
awesome.
because the hours for the public are very limited at the property, and it's very hard to get in there. But this event gave the brides, at least in the greater Des Moines area, an opportunity to spend a couple hours there so they could experience it.
Okay, let's see what's there. Okay, now I put this in because Bo spends time picking his own greens, and there were lots of beautiful photos that you supplied on your blog. So
for some reason, and I think a lot of it has to do with those bean fields that I mentioned earlier in the conversation, I am addicted to botanicals.
I love it.
There's just something about the individualization of them, how they grow, the aromatherapeutic benefits that they provide. The list just goes on. But most importantly, they're cost effective.
Yes.
And you can create lush, gorgeous botanical centerpieces for pennies on a dollar. And also in the mindset of keeping things green, the color variation of greens is unlimited.
We're going to see, I think, more of that. What's after this one? I threw the cake in because I know you work with lots of cake if you will.
Actually, this cake is done by an independent sole proprietor baker who doesn't really do cakes, and told me that she was intimidated and didn't want to do it. But I told her, go for it, just knock yourself out. And this is the first cake she's ever made and decorated for a wedding. And I just was very pride-filled by her attention to detail, first and foremost, the sparkle and dazzle that she lent to it on her own without being asked, and the simplicity and humbleness of a truly handcrafted cake by a non-professional. I mean, that is awe-inspiring to me.
Awesome. Okay, now, and I always talk about Bo's work ethic, and these are my favorite chairs. I had to put this in for two reasons.
That's so funny.
There are these gold chairs that are infamous at events all around Des Moines, and this is, and when Bo says I clean bathrooms and wash dishes, he's not lying. I mean,
I carry chairs and tables.
If you're the event planner, you're doing all sorts of things. So,
fortunately, Chiavari chairs are very light. And even though I felt like I was breaking my back.
Yeah, you only had like 12 on that stack.
Right. Well, we had to move 300 in an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, some of the younger bucks, God love them, they're strong, big dumb hunks, but they don't want to take more than 4, and I don't have time for that many trips.
Okay.
So I was just trying to set an example that day with the younger boys. Didn't work out, but whatever. It's all good. And again, too, I think by me being part of that process, it also keeps me very grounded in the event so that I know what's going on.
Yep.
And it's not really any harder than standing in a corner, taking notes, overseeing, and then having to go and redo it anyway because they didn't do it right to begin with.
Well, and that you can carry more than 4 at a time because you've done it yourself.
Exactly.
So let's take a
continue
look
to.
at what else. And Bo working on greenery.
All right, well, Brooke, I don't
And
know
this
where
was
you
in
found
co-
that picture. That's one of my all-time favorite, except for that I look pale as a ghost. I had been very
It was in
sick.
Colorado,
It was
right?
in Colorado. I'm
Uh-huh.
actually in a shelter at the top of a mountain.
It's
And,
so beautiful.
We had to bring everything in. It was an incredible logistical journey.
I love your attention to detail, though, and the fact that you're doing it yourself.
And also below that cylinder is table linen from here in Iowa, Beyond Elegance, literally FedExed everything to me to that mountaintop. It was delivered to the top of the Flatiron Mountains,
Wow.
north of Boulder, and I had to make 24 of those centerpieces for an event that there was no electricity, so it was candle lit.
Oh,
and
wow.
The glass cylinder was actually illuminated. And that evening, the glow in that pavilion at the top of that mountain, I mean, I get choked up just talking about how beautiful it was. I mean, it was just the
Well,
most
I
phenomenal.
love this picture. This, to me,
I just
is,
wish that I looked tan and
it-
skinny.
Yeah, well, and I know this was a while ago. So anyway,
Like, yeah, 3 years ago.
yep. What do we have?
Little tartlets from this past weekend. Again, it's the attention to detail in the presentation. I have
They're
always felt
immense.
adamant about that your first bite for your guest needs to be the same as the last bite a guest gets to eat.
Yep.
And this was just an assembly line of tartlets.
And
One
this
of my
is at
favorite
the,
bartenders, just a shout out to Gary.
okay, and this is at the Rollins Mansion.
This is the foyer as you enter the property. I consider it a statement room. You really
It's
can,
very Great Gatsby-ish, isn't
correct.
it?
Yep, very
Okay.
Great Gatsby. It's very old school, like a downtown Abbey themed party would be
Oh.
spectacular at this
Ooh,
property.
okay.
And again, just a very simple organic linen, a lot of glassware, spotless windows. This is Gloria Olson from Glorious Desserts, my favorite wedding cake maker, baker, artiste.
Wow.
And she's another one, her attention to detail coming onto the property, wanting to make sure everything looked perfect.
Yeah.
These were simple cylinder vases. The house is very masculine.
Right.
And I needed to really soften it up a bit. So I'm a big believer in branches. They're just simple. They're cost effective. I usually take them from the property that the event is on. Ask, of course. This beautiful presentation done by Tangerine, a local catering company just coming into the mix.
And I love what this is on. It's
Right,
like
again, just simple glass blocks and simple glass shelving.
and the rose.
Oh, and the rose
roses
overlay, yeah. Well, that
is
white on white
gorgeous.
with the continuum of the ovals and the crackers and the cheeses, in the desserts themselves, that repetition of that circular floral opening bud vibe.
We're going to actually take a break because we need to, and we're gonna come back and look at some more of Bo's work, and we'll be right back after this.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drink, dance, party. Kitty's is the ultimate dance club in Des Moines. A huge dance floor with room to move, 3 bars to keep your drinks full, and kickin' DJs playing all your favorite dance music. At Kitty's, we've always got your birthday party planned with Birthday Fridays. That's right, when your birthday rolls around, there's only one place to go. Gather up your friends and head to Kitty's, where you drink free on the Friday of your birthday week. Find out more about Birthday Fridays at kittiesusa.com. Kitty's, all kinds of people, all kinds of music, all kinds of fun.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome back to Outside the Box. I'm Brooke Benscutter, and my guest today is Bo Fodor, and we're talking about events in Iowa with his company, Panache, and some redirection that he's doing with his company to focus on events as well as weddings in the Iowa area. But Bo travels all over the country doing work. We've just looked at some pictures from Colorado. So, I'm jealous. I really wish it were me that were doing all that traveling. But anyway, I appreciate you being on the show today, Bo. And we're going to go back and look at a few more pictures just because I think they help people see the depth of what you do and how you achieve it. So, this was the ribbon cutting, and I think it's really important. One of the things that you've done so well in your blog is to talk about how there are so many great venues in the Des Moines area that people may not know about.
Right. I mean, this is a perfect example of community and diversity and also true entrepreneurial spirit. This group with putting together the Rollins Mansion paid intense attention to detail and recreated woodwork and moldings and ambiances within spaces with colors, textures, and fabrics to take it back to its original state.
Yeah, it's a great venue, and I've been to several parties there before the renovation, so I'm excited to see what they've done. Let's see. Okay, and this was a meal spread in one of the rooms.
Right.
And
this is off the catering menu. This was a sample tasting of our catering menu. And this was in the main room. This is the dessert bar. That actually, this was I had absolutely nothing to do with this other than be in awe that it's from Hy-Vee. And not to discount
Really?
Hy-Vee.
Oh my
Fabulous
gosh.
grocery store. Love their dry cleaning too. Long story short, though, Hy-Vee has stepped up. Windsor Heights and the Floor properties, some of the best catering at the most fabulous price points. I mean, just in awe of them. Really
yeah,
doing a good job.
I actually heard that from somebody at a venue that I work with for the Moxie movement, who highly not only recommended Hy-Vee but said they're very good with last minute things.
Yeah, their customer service, their delivery process. I mean, I literally have had managers leave the bakery with a cake out of a box and bring it so that I could set it onto a buffet table.
Awesome.
I mean, yeah, just awesome customer service.
So, all right, let's. I love this.
This is a huge trend and entertaining. It's incredibly hard to be innovative at this point in time. Thanks to Martha Stewart, really literally doing everything, trying to do something that hasn't been done before is getting tougher. But this provides everybody with what I call tastes. I know that as I have traveled and worked and gone to parties, the majority of the time you don't want a full meal. You just want something that tastes really good that can be followed by a cocktail. And these are gazpacho shooters with a bite of Cajun shrimp and then spooned crab meat and then also a small diced vegetarian spoon with avocado, cilantro, chives, and tofu.
Awesome.
This centerpiece provides a visual with every single element imaginable. All four, fire, water, air, and earth the LED lighting,
And this is
flora.
at the temple.
This is the Temple for the Performing Arts.
Yep.
This piece was actually designed by Stuart Alexander from One Source. We worked on an event together. And Stuart is another crown jewel here in the greater Des Moines area and works with very high-end clients, more corporately than personally, and doesn't really discriminate. He'll work with anybody, but his high-end, high design concepts are legendary. He's a very talented designer.
I just can't believe this is the temple. It just blows me away.
Right. Well, you've spent a lot of time in the temple,
Yep.
Brooke, as I have. And as the events over the years transitioned to become more modern and chic, the temple needed to also do that. And now with the new ownership and the new catering that's going on in there from DSM Catering, as well as the LED lighting that was just recently installed, it is probably one of, again, a crown jewel type property here in Des Moines.
And I know you've moved these chairs a few times.
Yeah,
So-
hundreds of times
Yep,
actually.
so-
Again, just creating ambiances through layering with color, texture, and fabric. Later in the evening, that room was transformed with LED lighting. The attention to detail with the staff. That's just my typical champagne bowl. As trite as it sounds, I love champagne and like to have it at my beck and call as well. And yeah, the guests are always wanting a glass of champagne upon any event arrival.
We're sideways here. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
We got two
funny.
sideways
That's
ones.
all right. This is out at Styx. This is one of my
this is
favorite
another
venues
venue.
out west.
Mm-hmm.
The organic attention to detail with the building of that property. It's encased in glass. It's a very green building. The kitchen that's there that you see, one of the most user-friendly countertop spaces. It's very cost-effective to rent the property. It can be transformed into an elegant high-end space, but I like it in its raw natural state, pretty much with what you see here. I tend to hang things from the ceiling as that cupcake tier. You can't really tell, but it's wired.
It's hanging.
It's
yeah.
hanging.
I'm sorry. I guess I should have said something about that because that's why part of the reason I picked it. It's like, okay, most people would set that on the counter, but no, we're hanging that.
Well, again, I'm tall. I like stuff at variable heights. I think it makes it interesting. That clearance sale from Hobby Lobby in 2000 piece has been used in every venue from Fort Dodge to Ottumwa. And one of my favorite entertaining pieces, actually. Again, the Botanical Center. This was the night after Valentine's Day. They did like a tropical theme night with orchids. And just again, a different perception, a different feel. As you saw previously, it was done in LED lights, and this is just their garden patio lights.
Yep.
So a totally different ambiance. It looks like a totally different venue.
Okay, and I think we have, and here's this logo.
Right. As you had mentioned earlier, too, I'm in the process of rebranding myself, about to launch a new website. I'm going to do some new and more diverse filming and television work in the future. And I'm very excited. Panache has come a long way, I feel, in a very short time, but 10 years is not a short time. As we've talked about it today, I just am still kind of shocked at how quickly and, more importantly, how fabulously Iowa has stepped into its own as a force to be reckoned with.
Well, as you've talked about kind of expanding and changing, what can people come to you for now?
Well, everything that I've done up until this point, I will continue to do. What I would like to work on and move forward with is personalized and individualized entertaining, literally like catering, not to the degree where everything has to be brought in, but using a person's home as the venue, using their dishes, their linens, incorporating their look and feel into those parties, providing a flawless attention to detail, but more importantly, the very best in service staff and in mixology, as well as providing an opportunity for the guests to have more of an experience. You had mentioned a little bit before about my wanting to do stuff for the right reasons. I think that when you entertain, entertaining for me has always just been very simple. It's been about caring that the people that are coming over have a really good time, and that I also have a really good time with them and can communicate and learn and grow from that experience. And I love high-end events. I love over-the-top fundraisers. I love the World Food Prize and the Rollins Mansion. But some of my favorite type of entertaining has been done literally in barns and on porches and in backyards, around fire pits and in bean fields and in cornfields. And this next year, I really want to focus on my farm-to-table business. I was afforded the luxury 2 years ago of working with some of the best restaurateurs here in Des Moines, and learned a lot about sustainable agriculture and about sustainable gardening, and to work again this season moving forward at the farmers market and with these vendors and these restaurateurs, and actually take them to the farms where the food is grown and comes from. Not only is an extremely incredible, awesome experience, it makes it all make sense. And that's the most important aspect for me at this point in my life.
And I think Iowa is on the map. That's another thing that's put Iowa on the map, is the fact that there is this buy fresh, buy local mentality. What's going on at Drake with the Ag Center.
Well, just what's going on with our wine industry is just, when I got here, there were no vineyards. There was no good wines coming out of Iowa. Now there are phenomenal wines coming out of Iowa that we served to the Chinese ambassador and his entourage, and they bought cases to take with them.
Oh, wow.
Which speaks volumes of what we have to offer. So.
Right. And not just that, but when you walk through the farmers market in downtown Des Moines, for example, cheeses.
The artisanal food industry has just skyrocketed. Also, not just the downtown farmers market. Don't get me wrong, it's the best we have in the state, I personally believe. But I also have been afforded the luxury of going to other farmers markets, Creston's,
right.
Fort Dodge's, Dubuque's, Davenport's, even Council Bluffs had a pretty rock star. I mean, they had beef there that was just phenomenal, that I was so surprised to find at a farmer's market. But yeah, throughout our state, the diversity of the offerings that are coming from our growers and our vendors it's very inspiring, and I'm very, very proud to say that I come from Iowa.
Well, I hope the next year does that for you. But as people who are listening want to contact you and get started on whether it's like a fundraiser or it's a wedding, and you still do weddings.
And with the size of my family, and now with the next generation of nieces and nephews, I will be doing weddings probably into my 70s.
That's great, though, because all that experience keeps you from forgetting something.
This is true.
So how do people get a hold of you?
The easiest way is just literally bofodor@yahoo.com. I'm about to relaunch a website. That will be another venue. You can also, to be honest, just call me, 515-306-7770. I'm a big believer in communication. I think that it's imperative that before any planning or any work or any creativity takes place, that we have a simple conversation. I get a lot of inspiration from personal stories, and there is work I will take on, not necessarily pro bono, but that I will give as much as I get from. If you have a story to tell, and if you're doing something that's going to make a difference, for sure, unconditionally, I got your back and we'll get involved. But most importantly, just to be able to find out where you're coming from and why you're doing what we're about to embark on. Is the best way to start a conversation, and to have an event that not only is spectacular, but most importantly, has some integrity and a mission. Without sounding cheesy, I think that no matter what we're doing, we need to try to accomplish something with that. And my events are what I consider to be sometimes like missionary work. I may not know what I'm doing when I get involved, but at the end, a very valuable process takes place, and I'm usually more humble than anybody at the end of the event.
It's just amazing when I look at your Facebook page, which I encourage people to visit, and your website, and we had the website address up so people can visit there. Your blog is incredible.
Well,
I think you do a fabulous job,
very much.
not only talking about what you do and where you do it, but how it came together and what made it work. And I also think you've done a fabulous job of harnessing other people's talents to be part of your map, if you will.
Right. Well, it takes a village. Nobody can do anything nowadays without a group of really strong supporters. And I am blessed with the fact that the younger demographic in town has sort of taken to my beliefs and my style. And I have, this diverse audience to really cater to. And that is incredibly important for staying kind of like in the know and in the mix and fresh. But also, too, I look for inspiration, so I know that other people are as well. And I think we need to continue to try to inspire one another. Everyone has a skill set that comes into play, and that needs to be appreciated and, more importantly, respected. Nobody can do anything on their own anymore, not if they want to be spectacular.
Boy, is that the truth with all the technology and everything. I mean, I just I appreciate the fact that you put that team together, if you will, and looking down the barrel of a wedding coming in the next year, I'm beginning to realize how important a planner really is to making sure nothing falls through the cracks. And really that should be that way with anything you do. That you don't want to not have forks.
Exactly.
When you're ready to eat, kind of thing.
And the wedding planning actually was an incredible foundation for me to have to mix like personalities and principles together. I mean, I always try to separate them in business, but the wedding industry is one of those few experiences where personalities and principles have to blend for a successful wedding reception anyway.
Yeah, I understand. Well, Bo, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I love the walk down the picture lane. I hope that everybody appreciates what I was trying to show, and that is that Bo definitely has that team and has the work ethic as well as the talent to put on fabulous events, many of which I've had the honor of attending over the past few years. And if you'd like to get in contact with Bo, it's panachepoints.com. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Outside the Box. And we'll be looking at more thinking from Iowa businesses who are doing things differently.